And we're live on a Thursday evening for another edition of the JA Wrestling Show, a prediction stream tonight regarding NXT's next premium live event, Halloween Havoc. I'm already seeing activity in the chat, some familiar faces already. Want to say a quick hello to LJ, saying hi Jose, how you doing? I'm glad you could be here for a prediction stream. Alex and Sylvia here, both members of the Main Event Mafia and long time members of the channel as well. Alex says hi Jose, happy to be here on a Thursday night. Hope you're doing well. Haven't made it to a live in a while, but you're here now, and I'm glad. I'm very fortunate. I'm very grateful to have the community that we have had over the past year and a half. And although you haven't been here for a couple of lives, you said, I'm glad to see you back here nonetheless. Hopefully you've been doing well. Hopefully the wrestling world's been treating you well, and hopefully just in general life's been okay for you. So I'm glad to see you, my friend Alex. Sylvia says hi to everybody. Sylvia, big shout out as well. One of our OGs here on the channel who has been a big supporter of what we've been doing with the channel. We've recently hit 11,000 subs, and Sylvia as well as Alex have been here from like what feels like the very beginning. So it's awesome to see some of our long tenured members still with us, enjoying the stream, enjoying professional wrestling. LJ says hi, how are you? I'm doing well, can't complain. You know what I mean? We have some things to talk about for NXT Halloween Havoc. In terms of outside of wrestling though, just a quick catch me up, and as you can see, have the Golden State Warriors on. The Warriors 1-0 on the season, getting a big victory on Tuesday over the LA Lakers. Tonight we face off against the Denver Nuggets. The San Francisco 49ers, as you guys know, I'm a big San Francisco fan. They are 5-2 on the season, still first in the NFC West. Aside from that, of course, trying to get the channel moving and continuing to grow. Have the day job, which, I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Today on my job was not it. Very busy, very hectic day, but thankfully we got that out of the way, and we're here tonight live on a Thursday to talk about NXT Halloween Havoc. Halloween for me is one of my favorite holidays of the year. It's probably number 2, right behind Christmas. Just the vibe of Halloween. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the horror film. I love the spooky season, seeing the decorations, seeing costumes already being planned out. I'm a big fan of Halloween. And since we're on the discussion, on the topic of Halloween, hopefully you guys will join us on next Thursday's live stream. That's October 30th for a special Halloween live stream. Looking forward to that. And I'm hoping that you guys have the time in your day to check it out and join us on October 30th, our Halloween live stream. It's one of my favorite times of the year just because it's a little bit fresher, not as hot outside here in Arizona. And again, fall, just the overall vibe, just the vibe of it all is one of my favorites here. Alex says, always catch the replays. I appreciate that, Alex. It's because of people like you who continue to support what we're doing here on YouTube that we are afforded the opportunity to continue to grow. So a very big thank you to you, as well as everybody else who's been so supportive of the channel. LJ says, Jey Uso winning the Battle Royal was my lifetime bet. Jey Uso, and we will discuss the NXT PLE, but I like what we're seeing here from the chat here, so we're going to keep rolling with that. The Jey Uso Battle Royal victory, a very divisive, very reminiscent to like what we saw at the Royal Rumble. There's a lot of people there who support Jey Uso. I'm one of them. I'm a fan of Jey Uso's. I love seeing the Yeet Man do his thing. But there are a large portion of the audience, rather the online community, who have been very anti-Jey Uso, whether it's because that they believe that he's only receiving this push because of the family that he was born into. I think Jey Uso is a captivating part of Monday Night Raw. Athletically, he can go. Is he the best wrestler? I'm going to tell you right now, no. He's not the best wrestler, but he is one of the most entertaining aspects of this show, and he has a genuine connection with the audience. Whenever you turn on the TV and you're watching Monday Night Raw or a premium live event, the connection is there with the audience. Jey Uso has that it factor. And when it comes to the WWE specifically, yes, professional wrestling takes place within the ropes, but there's so much more that go into it, and that is your ability to connect with the audience and develop this connection with them that goes far beyond the ropes. And Jey Uso has the aura, if you will. And I feel that that's what they're rocking with here. Jey Uso right now is in the midst of a transitional period in his career. He had lost the World Heavyweight Championship earlier in the year to Gunther, and since then has been on a journey of self-discoverment. He's trying to refine himself. And in doing so, he's kind of displaying similar tendencies that one Roman Reigns would exhibit back then. Jimmy, his brother, his older brother, his other twin, sees those tendencies and calls him out on it. This isn't you talking, this is Roman talking, and Jey is still very aggressive in his approach and trying to be the man that he wants to be. The main event, Jey Uso, who was in line to become the tribal chief following Roman Reigns. I mean, this bloodline saga has been going on for years, and if you remember way back when in 2020, when Jey and Roman had that initial feud, it was all in the makings of putting Jey on a pedestal to become the next tribal chief, the heir to the throne that Roman Reigns has been sitting upon the last few years. But in doing so, this has rubbed people the wrong way. The Battle Royal was an opportunity to crown a new number one contender to face off against CM Punk on November 1st, Saturday night's main event, to crown a new World Heavyweight Champion. And if you ask me, as a longtime viewing fan of the WWE and professional wrestling in general, Jey Uso facing CM Punk does make sense from a narrative standpoint. However, from a logistical standpoint and just me as a fan, I would have went LA Knight. LA Knight and CM Punk have already been at each other's throats the last couple of months. There's already built-in animosity. Plus, you take into account that LA Knight has been on a rise, a meteoric rise over the last couple of years, and became naturally over with the audience due to his brash and arrogant, yet cocky and entertaining promo style, and his almost throwback way to like The Rock and Stone Cold back in the Attitude Era. The WWE does not really want to put him in that position to be a main eventer. Now, whether that is by design or just because of neglection, they rather have Jey Uso up there against CM Punk. Now, granted, Jey Uso and CM Punk is a marquee matchup. Big money names there. But how are you going to expect a guy like LA Knight, who is trying to get to that next level, how do you expect him to get to that next level if you're not giving him the opportunity? The last time I checked, in the sense of basketball, you don't know who your superstars are unless they take that shot. You think we would have known who Stephen Curry was if he wasn't taking the shots that he was back at Davidson or when he got to the Golden State Warriors? They gave him the ball, they gave him the opportunity, and he ran with it. And he showed that, yes, he is that hot of a commodity and proved to be one of the all-time greats in NBA history. LA Knight, I might be going on a limb. I'm not saying he's going to be one of the greatest of all time, but let's give him those opportunities to main event a show. Have a matchup against the likes of a CM Punk with the world title on the line, and let's see how it goes for him. I would have gone LA Knight versus CM Punk. Am I going to enjoy Jey versus CM Punk? To the best of my ability. I'm a fan of both men. But I just think it was a missed opportunity there to elevate another star to the main event title picture and have an abundance, a ridiculous abundance of riches of main event caliber talent. Jey Uso would have been fine had he lost that battle royal. LA Knight, though, is, where do we go with him now? To me, he was already embroiled in a matchup against CM Punk. Who is he going to fight against? Jey Uso after this? Presumably. I would think so. That's just my 2 cents, though. I appreciate the question there, LJ. LJ also says, I was at a reservoir and I went to a WWE station and I went with a SmackDown Universal Championship. I was never really a big fan of the Universal title. It just seems so generic to me. And I don't mean to like hamper on the title. But it's just off of first impression, it's always like the red or blue belt for me personally. But that's the discussion about Jey Uso. I want to jump in real quick here to one of the opening matches for NXT Halloween Havoc. A tag team match, playa. It's going to be 2 young and up-and-coming talent. 2 people that are very mirror images of each other and had a all-time matchup at Bound for Glory that unfortunately was interrupted by Dark State. Of course, I'm referring to Javon Evans and the TNA X Division champion, Leon Slater. These 2 guys, I mean, El Juggalo's asking what's popping tonight. I'm telling you right now. Leon Slater and Javon Evans, I hope that these two are destined to do it for all time. The match that they had at Bound for Glory prior to being interrupted by Dark State was one for the ages. The athleticism, the story, psychology that they were telling within that matchup, and the fact that these two guys are super young. These guys have all the potential in the world. So many years ahead of them here in their early careers. But they're going to be a tag team at Halloween Havoc, facing off against two competitors from AAA, Mr. Iguana and La Parca. That in itself should be an entertaining matchup. The offense, of course, will be fast and furious, and the crowd participation I'm expecting to be at an all-time high. Javon Evans and Leon Slater, again, have proven to be the next man up. You know, whenever we see the current main event roster get pushed up to the main roster, I could see guys like Slater and Javon Evans on that next tier. But they're going to be here saddled with a matchup against Iguana and La Parca. And this was matchup, it feels like it was kind of thrown together at the last minute for the tag team match at Halloween Havoc. We know the story between Evans and Slater. They have respect for each other. I think it's only a matter of time before they run it back and have another matchup for that X Division Championship, maybe even to the point where Evans wins the title. I wouldn't be surprised in that regard. But them going up against Iguana and La Parca, to me, you don't just throw this matchup together without some sort of reason. Now, will it be an entertaining matchup? Yes, but I don't think that's enough. I think we're going to try to move forward the story between Evans and Slater. There's only so much respect that can be shared between those two. I look at a guy like Mr. Iguana and La Parca, who are in AAA, the newly acquired promotion by the WWE. I cannot see them taking this loss willy-nilly. The WWE has been very protective of Mr. Iguana in his presentation, so I can't see them taking this loss. Yes, I'm predicting that Javon Evans and Leon Slater take the L at Halloween Havoc, but I think it is going to be by design. I think this puts over AAA in a big way, getting wins over Leon Slater and Javon Evans, but it also sets in motion maybe a little bit more of an aggressive approach by one or the other. Maybe Leon Slater takes the pin, and this causes Javon Evans to kind of poke fun at him, like, hey, you're the champ and you took the loss. Are you really that good or whatever? But I feel like this is an opportunity to have Slater and Evans really start to dig at each other. And it can start off as a friendly competition. It doesn't have to be a full-on blood feud off of the rip. But I think now we're going to see more tension between the two as they take the loss to La Parca and Mr. Iguana. I'm looking forward to the matchup. I'm a fan of all four individuals in the match. But I just think it's an awesome opportunity here to advance Javon Evans and Leon Slater into a more serious matchup. Not that the other matchup wasn't serious, but that was more built on like a dream match kind of a vibe, where now it's like, let's have a match between the two, a decisive winner, by the way, and determine who is truly next man up. So Robert says, yo, Jose, tag team playa, please explain this and talk about one of the most underrated performers ever. Are we wait. What do you mean by the underrated performers ever? Are we talking about Theodore Long? The Theodore Long? Sometimes I say certain things that kind of come off as natural. But yeah, for those who are maybe not aware or do not remember Theodore Long, probably most known by the general audience as the general manager of Friday Night SmackDown, then was Thursday Night SmackDown, but I think one of the best general managers as well. He was very entertaining, had a presence on the show, and also had like he was an authority figure that had respect. He wasn't just thrown around or was disrespected by many of the talent. He had a level of authority to where the wrestlers respected him, I felt. And a very common theme during an episode of SmackDown, any average episode of SmackDown, you would see one of the heels acting a fool, and Teddy Long, in natural fashion, would come out and would say, wait, hold on a minute, player. And he says, and I always think of JBL when he does this, But he says, tonight you're going to go one-on-one with The Undertaker. And it was always just a huge pop from the crowd. The other common catchphrase that Teddy Long had was whenever there was multiple people in the ring, they came out and they had a brawl. Let's say it was 3-on-3, 2-on-2, 4-on-4. It didn't matter. During the brawl, Teddy Long's music would interrupt. And of course, in Teddy Long fashion, he could say, like, well, hold on a minute, playa. You got an issue with him. He's got an issue with you. You got an issue with him. We're going to settle this in a ring. And we're not going to settle this in any type of match. We're going to settle it in a tag team match, playa. And he'd say, you're going to have on one side the tag team of Orlando Jordan and John Bradshaw Layfield going up against Batista and his tag team partner. And it's like a long pause. The Undertaker. It was always the same thing. You knew what to expect, but yet it always got a good pop from the audience. That Theodore Long, give him his credit, knew his role, and he played it well. Whether it was as the general manager, he was always so entertaining and so energetic and brought a levity to the episode of SmackDown. He was also known as a manager for, like a tag team like Doom. He was there actually at one point with, I think, Mean Mark Callis, better known as The Undertaker. He was a manager for Mark Henry and Rodney Mack in like the 2000s on Monday Night Raw. He was even a referee for a while there. So Teddy Long has been around the block and then some, and has performed at as like different roles in the business. So Robert says he started out as a ref in the NWA. Again, just the ins and out of the business. He's done everything, and that's why he's in the Hall of Fame. Teddy Long, one of the all-time greats in pro wrestling. Not just in the WWE, but just in pro wrestling. And Teddy Long, one of my favorite. He's probably my favorite general manager, truthfully. I think Nick Aldis and Adam Pearce are great for what we have right now. But in terms of like the recent memory, very difficult to not put Teddy Long near the top of that list. And also near the top of my list is the NXT Women's Championship. As we see JC Jane, the champion, the reigning and defending champion, the leader of Fatal Influence, as she defends her title against the winner of the number one contenders battle royal, Tatum Paxley. This matchup to me is difficult to predict because it's one of those things where you're thinking with your head or with your heart. Now, for all intents and purposes, my head is thinking that we're going to get a successful title defense. I'm thinking JC Jane wins. I think it'd be a great story to have Tatum Paxley win the title and maybe create some tension between her and Izzy Dame for that women's championship and maybe have a payoff to that friendship that they have going on. And I think my head would tell me that JC Jane wins because it's just not Tatum's time. Jane still has a little bit more time with that title at hand. But then on the flip side, my heart. It says, if you listen close, it says Tatum Paxley wins. That promo that Paxley cut on NXT was so impassioned, and it got me believing. It got me wanting to root for her. I've been a Paxley fan for a few years now, and what really did it for me was her friendship with Lyra Valkyria. I thought that was so fun to watch between her and Lyra. Having her team up also with Gigi Dolan and Shotzi Blackheart, I thought was a great mix as well as a way to, combine the uniqueness of each woman. Unfortunately, it wasn't to last long because they released Shotzi and Gigi. But Tatum has always been a consistent worker. Given her time in NXT for 4 years now, she has shown improvement in the ring, and as a personality, as a character, it's there. She has all the makings of a future star. And while my head is thinking it's going to be a successful title defense by JC Jane, my heart tells me that we're going to see the upset and that Tatum Paxley wins. I think we're due for a surprise championship title win, but it can go either way. And I'm going to go with my heart. I'm going to go with Tatum Paxley. I think she goes over. I probably am wrong because I should listen to my head. But I'm going on a limb I'm going to go Tatum Paxley to win that championship. And it could be brief. She doesn't have to hold it for 6 months. Maybe she holds it for a month and drops it immediately back to JC Jane. But I just think in the moment, man, how cool would it be if Tatum Paxley wins on Halloween Havoc, one of the spookiest events of the year for one of the spookiest wrestlers in the WWE. I just want to see it. I want to see Tatum Paxley win. We'll stick with the women's division as the North American title will be defended in an interesting set of circumstances. Sol Ruca, who I think is a star in the making, is arguably one of the best wrestlers in NXT today, and I can't wait to see her on a full-time basis on the main roster. She's the reigning and defending North American Championship and was scheduled to face off against Blake Monroe, but due to unforeseen circumstances regarding an injury, Sol Ruca will not be cleared to compete this upcoming weekend at Halloween Havoc. So the question was, what do we do now? Sol Ruca addresses the NXT crowd this past Tuesday and is already prepared to vacate the championship and have someone else step up. And step up did they ever, as Blake Monroe came out and said, I should be the champion. Which, I mean, she has a good argument. She's been on quite the hot streak as of late, but Zarya would beg to disagree. Zarya will step up in place of Sol Ruca, almost in the sense of like an interim champion, what AEW likes to do with their titles. So Zarya steps up and she will be defending the title in honor of Sol Ruca. So if she wins, if Zarya wins, Sol Ruca is still the champion. However, if she loses, well then obviously Blake Monroe becomes the new reigning and defending North American champion. And I like this substitute because she easily could have vacated the title, maybe have again another battle royal to crown a number one contender, or maybe some kind of circumstance, a tournament even, but that might have been too long of a wait. So they go with an interesting change here, and they have an interim champion in Zarya. And again, it furthers the story between Zarya and her tag team partner Sol Ruca, who have had some instances of tension these last couple of months. We saw last week on NXT that Zarya was awarded an opportunity in that number one contenders match by her tag team partner Sol Ruca, who was already the North American champion and the Speed champion. Is this the beginning of the end for Zarya and Sol Ruca? Potentially. This might create a little bit of a tension, some cracks, if you will, between the relationship between the two. But I look at tendencies. I'm a big patterns guy. You watch this show long enough, and you get an idea of where they're going to go with certain storylines. You see the patterns. For example, whenever the challenger lists up the championship on the go-home show before pay-per-view or PLE, 9 times out of 10, they're not going to win the matchup. And the champion's just going to retain because we're trying to suspend the disbelief of the audience. We're trying to subvert their expectations. So we see that this person has the championship and we're thinking, wow, they really can do it. They're really going to win the title at the next premium live event. And then when they lose, it's like a surprise, if you will. Blake Monroe has recently defeated Zarya in a one-on-one matchup. So, as a way to subvert the expectations, you would think that Blake Monroe can do it again. But I don't think she does. I think Zarya pulls it off, and Sol Ruca is still the champion. I think Zarya gets her get back against Blake Monroe, but it'll only be a matter of time before she drops that championship instead of Sol Ruca. We don't even know what the severity of this injury is. We don't know how long Sol Ruca is going to be out for. So it would be easy, if I'm the WWE, just to have Blake Monroe win. But then what does that do for Zarya? Now, it could lead to maybe a heel turn by Zarya based on frustration that she could not have that championship. She beats up Sol Ruca, maybe. But Sir Robert brings an excellent point here, says Blake Monroe is going to the main roster, which is why I just don't know if she wins the championship. I'm going with Zarya, But I could definitely see Blake getting called up pretty soon. She's ready. We saw her matches in AEW. Specifically, the Hollywood ending between her and Toni Storm. What a match, by the way, at Revolution. She's ready to get called up. Now, whether it's Raw or SmackDown, that's something we'll have to wait for. I know reports are saying that there might be some call-ups on SmackDown. But I'm going to go Zarya to successfully defend the championship in honor of her tag team partner, Saruka. Talking about tag teams. This next matchup, I'm looking forward to. And I feel like I say that a lot when it comes to these matches on a PLE I'm looking forward to, but this one is because it's for nostalgia. Nostalgia, as we all know, is a hell of a drug. And whenever you see something that reminds you of the past or the good old days, we kind of get a level of excitement that's indescribable, except for nostalgia. The Hardys will be defending the NXT tag team titles against the team of Dark State. Typically, when it comes to Dark State, I don't feel any type of way. I'm apathetic when it comes to them. I don't hate them. I don't like them. They're just there. Which, no shots to Hank and Tank, but it's how I feel about them too. I don't care for them, truthfully. Not invested. But I am invested in the Hardys. And as of this episode of NXT, they've made it known that they're returning back to the Broken Universe. Brother Nero and Broken Matt Hardy have re-entered the Lake of Reincarnation, and they've turned back the clock to 2016 and are still finding ways to reinvent themselves. I saw Senor Benjamin. We saw Rebby, and of course the Hardy children. And it'll be a Broken Rules match between the Hardys and Dark State. Now, heading into the event, if it was a standard tag team matchup between the two, I would have gone Dark State. The Hardys got that moment. They won the tag team titles, and now they're one of the most winningest champions of all time, having won the WWE Championship, the World Tag Team Championship, the TNA Tag Team Championship, the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championship, the WCW Tag Team Championship, and now the NXT Tag Team Championship. They've done it all. They've done it all. So I would have forgiven you if you would have chosen the Hardys to lose this match to Dark State, but because of the stipulation, because it's Broken Rules, how are they going to lose? Truthfully, how are they going to lose? They're not. Quite frankly, they're just not going to lose. Hardys go over, hold the titles a little bit longer. Don't know when, but I don't see them losing to Dark State. And again, I'm just not that big of a fan of Dark State. But I'll tell you who I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of All Ego, Ethan Page, who is the current reigning and defending North American champion, as he defends that championship in a Day of the Dead matchup. We don't necessarily know what the stipulations of this match are. I'm suspecting it's like a street fight, I would think. But he'll be facing off against another AAA competitor, the Latin American champion, El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr. Now, you would have known how great of an athlete he is if you had seen the previous Worlds Collide event. El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., just like a chip off the old block, has proven to be one of the top baby faces in AAA, and he's a big competitor for someone like Ethan Page. Now, given that they're both champions, I don't think we're going to see a double champion here. A lot of double champions as of late. And El Hijo de Dr. Wagner, I could definitely see him continue this feud moving forward, but for Ethan Page, in a very similar sense to the Hardys, I don't see him losing. I don't. I think Ethan Page goes over. He beats El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., and we move on to the next story. Because I think he beats El Hijo. I think we move past it. I don't think there's anything else to contribute to this feud. But it might be a sleeper. Truly, it might be a sleeper on the card here. Just a quick break here from the prediction stream. If you're just joining us, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. I'm a big fan of professional wrestling. We've created a professional wrestling channel for fans alike, whether it's WWE, AEW, TNA, or everything in between. Make sure you subscribe to the channel to keep up to date with all things pro wrestling. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, you can't participate in live streams like this one, where we talk about all the premium live events as they come and go, or we give our predictions and reactions to the current news in professional wrestling. Once again, if you're not subscribed to the channel, make sure you do so to join in on the conversation. And if you're feeling ever so kind, you can also follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at jareapod _ once again for the people in the back. That's at jareapod _ or you can see it over my shoulder here on the screen. I do implore and encourage people to follow us on TikTok, because we are going live more often on TikTok and having more of a lengthy discussion there as well. We're welcoming new members of the J area, whether it is on YouTube or TikTok, just continuously trying to grow as a community, namely in professional wrestling, but just in sports in general. I'm a big fan of sports. You guys already know that, but pro wrestling is where it's at for us. And if you aren't following us on social media, please continue to do so in order to stay up to date with all the news regarding the channel as well. We've seen some growth with the channel as well as our socials, and there's even an opportunity for you to become an even bigger contributor to the channel by being a member of the Main Event Mafia. If you become a member of the channel, you do get early access to certain videos as well as exclusive access to posts, polls, videos, shorts, and everything in between when it comes to the channel. You also, just like Sylvia and Alex, get a customized username, championship belt next to your username, I should say, that determines how long you've been a member. So, for example, for a lot of our long-term members, they're probably already on the Intercontinental Championship. Of course, you start off with the NXT title, and to see the evolution of the championships, you have to become a member as well. And you get first dibs on the comments and the replies as well. So, it's also a great way to help support the channel by basically keeping the lights on here in the J area. And I appreciate those who are already members, and for those who will be members of the channel as well. And you know what? Since we're in such a good mood regarding the channel, it is October 23rd. And I think I've only given out 5 memberships this month. As you guys know, YouTube has given us the opportunity to gift 10 memberships to our community. I think I've only done 5. So why not? We'll shoot the breeze and we'll call an audible right here on the spot. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to gift 5 more memberships. Again, it's at random. I don't choose who, but congratulations to our new members of the Main Event Mafia. Gianna Forever back as a member. L.E., Erica, Cryptic7, and Sir Robert, also a new member to the Main Event Mafia, welcoming you guys to get exclusive access to the post polls, videos, and more, and as well as just being an exclusive member. As you saw in the last video for New Jack, we had incorporated a nice little tag at the end of the video that was thanking our members, and I want to incorporate that more on the monthly upload. So in order to be included on those thank you slides following a video, become a Main Event Mafia member and you'll see your username at the end of the video as well, especially for next month's video. I'm already working on it, and if you're a member of the Main Event Mafia, you already got a sneak peek as to what that video will be about in November. I've already started writing it. Pretty soon I'm going to film it and edit it. Really looking forward to sharing that with you guys as well. It's a topic that is near and dear to my heart, and it's something that really hits close to home. So I hope that you guys enjoy November's upload, because I know I'm having a lot of fun planning it out already. So Robert says, an ignorant question here. Is a wrestler el hijo, a son, or a successor, or both? It could be both. It could be both. A lot of times in lucha libre, the gimmicks are passed on. You know, they're like characters that continue on even past the originator. For example, La Parca. The current La Parca is not the very same one from like the 90s. It was passed on. No relation though. But when it comes to El Hijo del Dr. Wagner Jr., he is the son. He is the son. You don't name someone El Hijo if he's not the son of that professional wrestler. You could, I guess, ideally you could, but it wouldn't be the same. Look at like El Hijo del Santo. That's another example of, El Hijo. It is a literal translation to the son for those who are not as well versed in Spanish. El Hijo translates to the son. Of course, if you look at the sense of Dr. Wagner Jr., the translation is El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr., which would suggest that this iteration would be the third, because he's the son of Junior. I should know. I'm technically the third in my family as well. Shout out to the two originators, my dad and my grandpa, the original Jose Ramos Juniors. Well, I would be the only junior. You guys get what I'm saying. Not an ignorant question at all, Sir Robert. I appreciate the question. I also appreciate every conversation that you're a part of as you allow the conversation to continue on even past the prediction topic. And speaking of the prediction topic, we'll stick with it as well here. Feel free to comment down below any questions or comments in the discussion. In order to be a part of the channel's live streams, you do got to subscribe. So I do implore you all to become subscribers and join in on the conversation. But for the time being, I want to talk about the main event of NXT Halloween Havoc. It'll be the NXT champion Ricky Saints defending his title against the former two-time NXT champion, the former TNA World Heavyweight Champion, Mr. Trick Williams. This one, I will say, was thrown together like in the last couple of weeks. Trick Williams was recently the champion for TNA, having lost that title to Mike Santana in an emotional moment that I know most TNA fans will not forget, as it was the Bound for Glory event that saw the crowning of a new champion, the new face of TNA, Mike Santana, and now Trick Williams is on the decline. If anything, he's on the rebound, trying to rebound and regain the momentum that was lost at Bound for Glory. Instead, now he faces off against Ricky Saints for the NXT Championship. This matchup, I think, is going to be the match of the night. I think Ricky and Trick Williams have an opportunity here to tell a great story in the ring. The size differential is alone one of the main factors why I'm interested in this match. I feel like styles make the match, and whenever you have a larger opponent against a smaller opponent, it has all the makings of being a tremendous matchup, because you can tell this story of like a David versus Goliath. You can tell this. Well, they already did that technically with Obafemi, but it's a different giant for Ricky to face off. Trick Williams, I think, in all intents and purposes, is the face of NXT. He's been so the last couple of years. And now that Ricky Saints, the new kid on the block, fresh off of AEW, still trying to prove himself, I think, to the WWE machine. You can argue, why is a guy like Ricky Saints, who's like in his 30s already, having to be on the developmental brand? Why is he not on the main roster? Why didn't he just go straight to the main roster? Well, it's because it allows him an opportunity to adjust to the WWE style, but also to garner a level of interest and intrigue from the general audience. And I think he's done that. I think Ricky has done that with his natural charisma and his in-ring wrestling ability. I see that to be the very case for Halloween Havoc, as I predict that he will defeat Trick Williams and retain the NXT Championship. Also, it's just too early in the title reign for him to lose that championship. For me, pro wrestling really lives and dies on credibility. If you are not credible in your role, for example, we'll talk Ricky Saints. If you are not a credible champion and he loses that title, that will hurt his credibility. How am I, as a fan, supposed to invest my time, my energy, and quite frankly, my support in somebody that cannot win a match, let alone one of his first title defenses as the newly crowned champion? I don't think they want to put that position on Ricky Saints. I think they want to put him in a positive light and hold that title for a little bit of time here. Obafemi was a great champion, had great matches against everybody, and it's hard to top that. But I think Ricky Saints is up to the challenge. Also, I think Trick Williams, I think he's moving up to the main roster pretty soon. There's nothing really more for him to accomplish. He's won the NXT North American Championship. He's already won the NXT Championship twice. He won the TNA title. He's been a prominent babyface and a prominent heel on the brand. There's nothing more for him to accomplish. I think, and maybe I'm wrong, in which case I'm fine. No problem in admitting when I'm wrong. But This may be the swan song for Trick Williams. This might be the last match, maybe the last program for Trick Williams. And maybe he moves up to the main roster. Whether that's Raw or SmackDown, of course, that is yet to be decided. But I think Trick Williams, his time at NXT is coming up to a close. He's been there for now, maybe 4 years? And he's made huge improvements. I remember when he was the lackey to Carmelo Hayes. He was the Diesel to his Shawn. He was the muscle. And now he's his own man. He's his own star. The star of NXT. And pretty soon maybe the star of Raw or SmackDown. But a quick rundown here on the Halloween Havoc match card for those that are just joining the live stream. I have Javon Evans and Leon Slater defeating the team of Mystery Iguana. I have the team of Mystery Iguana and La Parca defeating the team of Leon Slater and Javon Evans. I have Ethan Page retaining his championship against El Hijo de Dr. Wagner Jr. I have Zarya successfully defending Sol Ruka's championship, the North American title. I'm going to go on a limb and say Tatum Paxley wins the NXT title for the women. And the Hardys successfully defend their tag titles, just as Ricky Saints successfully retains his championship as well. So Robert says again, NXT talent loses their title when they jump up to the main. Yeah. And again, it goes back to patterns. That's all it is. When you see pro wrestling long enough, you can kind of see the pattern of when a star is going to get called up or when they're going to move on to the next venture of their career. And I think that's what we're going to see with Trick Williams. But that's the portion of the live stream talking about NXT Halloween Havoc. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments down below. Let me know who you predict will walk out of each matchup as the victor, which champions will retain. Will we see any championships change hands? Or if you have any questions or comments, be sure to share them in the chat right now as we continue on with the live stream. And we'll continue on until the top of the hour here on a Thursday evening. Joining me here are the members of the J Area. My name is Jose Ramos Jr., welcoming you here for another live stream as we continue to talk about NXT Halloween Havoc. And since we're on the topic of Halloween Havoc, and hopefully we get some more questions and comments here in the chat, I do want to share one of my favorite matches of Halloween Havoc. For those who are familiar with the channel, you already know this, but for our new listeners and our new members of the J Area, one of my favorite matches of all time has to be 1997 Halloween Havoc. Rey Mysterio, Eddie Guerrero. Cruiserweight Championship versus Rey Mysterio's Mask. An all-time classic, voted as the number one match of the year 97. It's a great combination of storytelling, lucha libre, and athleticism, all bundled into one. If you are a new fan of pro wrestling, and you and I become friends, as I think we all are here in the J Area, and you asked me, Jose, hey, you have a YouTube channel. You like pro wrestling. You've watched it for many years. What's a matchup that you would show me as a new wrestling fan to kind of bring me in to this wonderfully wacky world of wrestling? I would sit you down. I said, first of all, welcome. But I would sit you down and say, you know what match you probably would enjoy? There's a masked wrestler named Rey Mysterio, who is arguably the greatest masked wrestler of all time. And he's going to go up against arguably one of the best in-ring talent to ever lace up a pair of boots in Eddie Guerrero. And they're going to put on an absolute classic. And the thing is, too, I wouldn't show a wrestling fan something too long, because I understand how the human mind works in 2025. We all have kind of short attention spans nowadays, especially due to TikTok. I wouldn't show him too long of a matchup because Eddie versus Rey isn't that long of a match, but it's very quick, high offense, great storytelling, and I feel like it's enough to really bring him into the world of wrestling, where it's like good guys and bad guys. Rey Mysterio versus Eddie Guerrero. Any matchup between those two. And there's a strong chance that that viewer hooked in. Because that's what happened with me. Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. Two of my all-time favorite wrestlers of all time. Not only from a sense of in-ring, but just what they meant to me as a kid growing up. As a kid growing up, we didn't really have a lot of superheroes that were Mexican, let alone Hispanic. I can't think of any off the top of my head. The one that really comes to mind is like Blue Beetle. In recent years, he had a major film come out in the last couple of years. But to me, I felt like a sense of representation when I saw Eddie Guerrero and Rey Mysterio. When I heard them speak. When I saw them in the ring. It was like seeing a family member. Like an uncle in the ring. And so I was immediately just in awe of the greatness that was Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero. So whenever I talk about that Halloween Havoc matchup, it just brings so many good memories of seeing their feuds in the WWE and still learning so much. To this day, I can throw in any matchup between them. Not even just between them, but any Rey match, any Eddie matchup, and there's so much you can learn from what they do and what they don't do in the ring. So if you're a new viewer of the channel and you're trying to get into professional wrestling, I highly encourage you to check out 1997's Halloween Havoc event where it was Eddie Guerrero versus Rey Mysterio, mask versus title. Robert says, said Team Road Trip to Triple Mania 2026. That'd be awesome. I would love to go to more wrestling events outside of the WWE. I've only ever gone to WWE shows. But I know AEW had recently came over out here for like Double or Nothing. And for whatever reason chose not to go. But I would love to see a show of AEW, TNA, AAA, just to experience a wrestling event that's not the WWE. Because I think it's very important to be able to enjoy all versions of professional wrestling. You can't just get stuck on one version. It's like I can't call myself an ice cream aficionado if I'm just eating vanilla. No, you gotta try a little bit of everything, and that way you can have a taste for different versions of the thing that you love. As I've said before on the stream, and maybe you've heard it, maybe you haven't, but if you haven't, a man or woman of many tastes will never starve. So I very much enjoy, WWE. I very much enjoy TNA, AAA, AEW, CMLL when I can catch it, and New Japan when I can catch it. So Robert says that's WrestleMania in Mexico. That is correct. For people who are not familiar with AAA, the latest acquisition by the WWE, they hold their event Triple Mania. That is their WrestleMania for the AAA event. For people who were not aware, but that's the best part of this channel is for those who are not aware, we help each other become aware. Whether it's you guys teaching me teaching you, it's been a great community allowing new and old fans to come in and just hang out, talk pro wrestling. Love it. I love it, man. We have Halloween Havoc this upcoming weekend. Next, we have in December, we have World's End. No, excuse me. We're in October. I'm skipping over November. We have Full Gear coming up for AEW. The WWE has Survivor Series as well that will be emanating from San Diego. I believe they're going to be playing or competing from like Padres Stadium where the Padres play. For a split second, I was jumping over November. Hope you guys are doing well, though, on a Thursday. I appreciate you guys whenever you guys take the time out of your days to hang out with us here on a live stream. As I said, if you're not following us on TikTok, it's at jareapod_. I would encourage you guys to follow us there as I plan on doing more live content over there. We do upload our shorts and our TikToks, of course, on that platform. Eventually, you'll see them come over here onto YouTube Shorts. But the lives on TikTok is where I want to start experimenting and bringing in more fans of professional wrestling, possibly over here. So, our live content will not change here on YouTube. I will continue to do the Monday streams. The Thursday streams are going to become sporadic. It's really going to be saved for special events or prediction streams or holiday streams. But Monday streams will not change. And we will have, of course, the monthly uploads. On the first of every month, I will have a video for the Main Event Mafia members for the exclusive content. And on the 15th, that's when we'll be doing our special uploads. This past one, on October 15th, was the New Jack video. If you haven't checked out the New Jack video, please do so. It was a lot of fun to edit. It was a lot of fun to film. And I've gotten great feedback in regards to the totality of that video. And if it is something that you are interested in, make sure you like that video. Comment down below what are your thoughts about New Jack. That way I can see that feedback and continue to create content like that. Aside from that, this November, the November 15th video that will be uploaded isn't a Dark Side episode. I will say that much. It's something different. And I'm hoping that you guys take a moment and check out those videos. Let me know your feedback, whether it's liking the video, commenting on the video. It really does help us a lot here in terms of creating content and trying to gain kind of an understanding of what it is that you all want to be seeing on YouTube. TikTok is another avenue we're trying to experiment with home base, of course, being here on YouTube. It's been a wild ride in 2025 as we continue to grow as a community. I appreciate you guys for all the help and the support and the love that you've sent our way, not just my way here on the stream, but towards the other members of the community, towards my family who have been a big part of these streams. They are very supportive and they see what you guys say, and I think they can agree with me in saying that we have an awesome community, an all-inclusive community that continues to prove why pro wrestling is just so awesome, because it continues to amaze me to see all kinds of people come together for a common interest. Of course, I'm going to go ahead and start closing down here on the stream. Again, if you have any last minute comments or questions, please feel free to drop them in the chat below as I start to close up here on tonight's live stream that was for the NXT Halloween Havoc prediction stream. Again, Halloween Havoc this upcoming weekend on Saturday. Hopefully you guys enjoy that show. I'm going to try to check out that show and see what it's all about, because I know NXT is kind of hit or miss, but I will always watch professional wrestling. With that being said, thank you guys for joining me on tonight's stream. All love and all the appreciation in the world would not do it justice. You guys make these streams what they are today and have continued to allow the channel to grow to where it's been. The goal was 10,000 by the end of the year, and we're pretty close to hitting 12,000. So all love and support from my end. Thank you guys for joining us on tonight's live stream. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your Thursday. Hopefully you have an awesome weekend filled with fun, relaxation, and just good vibes. Of course, my name is Jose Ramos Jr. Wishing you all a great evening, a great weekend. Stay cool and stay safe. And we'll see you guys all next week on another edition of the J Area Wrestling Show. Take care, everybody.